チンチンが大好きなんだよ。ああ、俺はチンチンが大好きなんだよ。Filthy Frank. If those two words mean nothing to you, then you mean nothing to me. If those two words mean absolutely nothing to you, then this video will make absolutely zero sense. Which basically means it's another average Void video. Filthy Frank was an era unto itself, and it was once a golden age of internet history. But we're not here to reflect on what was once great in depth. I'm saving that for another video. No, today I wanted to examine a particular aspect of the Filthy Frank cinematic universe, or the FFCU. The main antagonist, the Dark Lord, Chinchin. Chinchin was innocent, and I'm going to prove it. Yeah! Exhibit A, the Rock Paper Scissors Arena and Chinchin's return. At the elegant and well-renowned Rock Paper Scissors Arena, Pink Guy challenged Red Dick to a game of Rock Paper Scissors and emerged victorious. Red Dick has a bit of a freak out over losing this ritualistic combat scenario, and sicks his good friend Prometheus on Pink Guy. Pink Guy, in fear for his life, summons the Dark Lord Chinchin to save him. Now here's where the case really gets interesting. Chinchin was just watering his plants, being a gardener, having a grand old time. And he gets absolutely destroyed by Prometheus. 6,000 chromosomes later, Chinchin returns when Frank is trying to give a tour of his room, and, failing to make a serious video. Chinchin doesn't do any wrong here. Frank literally called to him. He literally gave him the call. Frank literally called to him, and he appeared doing absolutely no harm. And Frank's tribe's immediate impulse is to kill and attack Chinchin simply for existing. Afterward, peace is restored, and many civilians of Earth begin worshipping Chinchin to keep him happy and appeased on behalf of Frank. Yeah! Let's examine Exhibit A. Chinchin tries to save Pink Guy, gets killed for it, returns many chromosomes later, and Frank's tribe instantly freaks out and treats Chinchin like dirt. Tell me where in this scenario is Chinchin guilty of any Dark Lord behavior? At this point in time, Chinchin is far more benevolent, considering he answered Pink Guy's call for help even though he was preoccupied with his gardening. Yeah! Filthy Frank forgets to do his daily sacrifice to Chinchin, and seeing how Frank is the one who got many civilians of Earth to worship and make sacrifices in Chinchin's name, if I were Chinchin, I'd be a little irritated that Frank didn't make his agreed upon daily sacrifice. So Chinchin appears in Frank's dwelling and asks him where the hell his sacrifice is. Frank is all, "There's nothing here, go away, wait, I thought we were cool." So Chinchin reminds him of the Rock Paper Scissors Arena fiasco, aka Exhibit A. So until Frank has the sacrifices he's due for, Chinchin takes Salamander Man into his custody as temporary insurance. Seeing as Chinchin is a god, that seems pretty fair. He could have killed Salamander Man, or just killed them all except Frank. But no, he takes Salamander Man alive until Frank pays up. That's pretty fair coming from a godlike being. And what does Frank do in this moment? He orders Lemon to attack Chinchin, provoking and angering the Dark Lord. So this is the part where Chinchin retaliates, by threatening to take Salamander Man to Florida.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
Nah, just kidding, he's not that wrathful of a god. Yeah! Alright, now let's go over Exhibit B. Frank squares the deal with Chinchin, upholds it for about 6,000 chromosomes, and then breaks the deal. So Chinchin, a god, who had every right to kill them for Frank's mistake, was kind enough to take Salamander Man alive until Frank could pay up on the agreed upon sacrifice. Deal made, deal broken on Frank's end, and Chinchin was willing enough to make a temporary compromise. Where in this picture is Chinchin the bad guy? Especially considering that Frank was the one who broke the deal he proposed and ordered Lemon to attack Chinchin. Nah, nope, this exhibit is closed. Chinchin's innocent here. Yeah! Frank goes around and collects sacrifices for the Dark Lord from his people, aka his subscribers. He meets up with Chinchin, presents the sacrifices, and Chinchin is pleased with Frank's work. But those sacrifices weren't from Frank, they were from his people, not him. So yeah, Frank fucked up. After Frank continues to not uphold his end of the bargain, Chinchin gets understandably upset and decides Salamander Man is his forever now. But the one thing Chinchin doesn't get is why Salamander Man is so important to Frank. Well, it's simple.
Nobody plays better ass flute than Salamander Man.
After indulging Salamander Man's impeccable musical talent, Chinchin agrees with Frank that such artistic genius can't be withheld from the world at large, and lets Salamander Man go free. So Frank seeks out Chin-Chin to pay up on his debts. He does deliver a payment of sacrifices, but he wasn't the one who made them, and Frank himself is the one who owes. So, Chin-Chin, sick of Frank's shit, decides that Salamander Man belongs to him forever now, since he's so important to Frank. But once learning about Salamander Man's perfect ability to play the ass flute, and seeing how awe-inspiring his musical talent is, Chin-Chin is so moved that he lets Salamander Man go free, without Frank's sacrifice. The first time Frank broke his deal with Chin-Chin, Chin-Chin made a compromise. Then Frank failed to deliver upon his agreed-upon sacrifice, and even then, Chin-Chin still lets Salamander Man go, because even gods can be moved by music and the talent behind it. Frank's close friend, Dade the Bald Chocolate Man, is dying. And Frank cannot, for the life of him, develop a cure. Frank even goes as far as turning to spiritual healing methods, which all prove to be futile. As a last resort, Frank utterly begs for Chin-Chin to show himself and help him save Dade. And being on neutral terms with Frank since Salamander's release, Chin-Chin decides to intervene. At first, Frank just keeps asking and asking and asking, not giving any reason for Chin-Chin to help him. That is until Frank offers to give all the sacrifices that Chin-Chin wants, which gets the Dark Lord's attention. So they strike up a similar deal they did all those chromosomes ago. Chin-Chin sends Frank in the direction of a renowned doctor, Dr. Sack. Chin-Chin even goes the extra mile and provides Frank with bodyguards for the journey to find Dr. Sack, since the Omniverse is full of dangers. Unfortunately, the doctor in question refuses to help Frank, and Dade dies. Rest in peace, Dade. Fast forward a few chromosomes, and during one of Frank's anime hunts, Chin-Chin appears and questions where his sacrifices are. Though Frank was still mourning Dade, he gets to work on collecting sacrifices from his subscribers once again. Chin-Chin is decently pleased for the moment by the sacrifices, but Chin-Chin also wants Pink Guy. And after some back and forth arguing, and Chin-Chin claiming he can do whatever he wants in this part of the Omniverse, he banishes Frank to the rice fields, which are ground zero of the entire Omniverse. Yeah, I got nothing. Chin-Chin was kind of being a dick there for no reason. Exhibit E. One of Chin-Chin's final appearances in the FFCU was in the war that began when Frank returned from his banishment to the rice fields. Let's look at Chin-Chin's actions in this war. He kills Safari Man? It's a little ambiguous, but I think Safari Man is still alive. Afterward, he demands Pink Guy give him the chromosomes he owes, which Pink Guy doesn't have. But it's no real secret that Pink Guy has a low chromosome count.
Fuck me!
Pink Guy gets cursed as punishment for not providing his chromosomes, to which he later escapes the curse. Not long after, Frank returns and immediately begins verbally sparring with Chin-Chin and really pissing him off. It leads to an actual battle, of course, with Chin-Chin attempting to draw first blood. But after so many broken deals and Frank just not doing what he promised, I'd be a little pissed off too. In the second battle, it's Frank who initiates combat, to which Chin-Chin retaliates by bringing out one of his warriors. One of the infamous Tap brothers. The battle rages on and concludes with Frank using a herpes grenade to give Chin-Chin mad herpes. Yeah, no one could ever get away with this kind of content on modern day YouTube. Chin-Chin retreats with a very, itchy nether region, and the battle concludes. In this exhibit, Chin-Chin fatally wounds Safari Man completely out of the blue, curses Pink Guy for a short time, and contracts an STD. I believe Pink Guy getting cursed was justified, since he and all of Frank's tribe owe many chromosomes. But as for Safari Man, Chin-Chin was essentially putting on an intimidation display. By the second battle, both Frank's tribe and Chin-Chin's army were officially at war, and there was no stopping it. In this exhibit, Chin-Chin is 50-50 for innocent and guilty, making this one kinda difficult. You know what? I'll leave this one up for you to decide. Overall, we can clearly see Frank and his tribe members continuously making and breaking deals with Chin-Chin. In Exhibits C and D, we have clear evidence that Chin-Chin was trying to create good terms with Frank to incentivize him to do the same thing and keep up his deals. Mainly the note of letting Salamander Man go and providing Frank with bodyguards on his quest to save Dade. But we also have instances of Chin-Chin kinda just being an asshole, such as banishing Frank to the rice fields, even though he got his sacrifices, and nearly killing Safari Man in an intimidation display. There is a pattern to take note of here. Chin-Chin becomes increasingly wrathful and angry as Frank continues to break his deals with Chin-Chin or trying to worm his way out of the deals. Anyone, god or mortal, would get pretty mad if the same person keeps making and breaking the same promises, which ultimately resulted in the war between Frank and Chin-Chin. Overall, the evidence is mostly in Chin-Chin's favor, as there's clear display on Frank's end that he is incompetent at keeping his word. If you need further evidence, just look at Frank's channel description. With a majority of the evidence leaning in Chin Chin's favor, and many examples of Frank being an instigator, I deem the Dark Lord Chin Chin. If you made it to the end of this video and you have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, then go watch the video I'm putting on screen right now. It's the entire Filthy Frank, like, lore movie all in one thing, but I also suggest you just head over to Frank's channel and watch his videos if you want some, questionable and hilarious content. You also might know Filthy Frank by another name, Joji, as he goes by currently. He's a very successful music artist since that was just kind of his calling not halfway, like towards the end of the whole Filthy Frank, I guess, experiment, you could call it. I mean, hell, just look at Pink Season, which was like a Filthy Frank official album. Like, you can tell that George, the actual person behind Filthy Frank and who plays most of the characters, you can tell that George really likes making music and he's really good at it. So honestly, to all the Filthy Frank fans out there who might be watching this video, let's all give our best wishes and our love to Joji because he deserves all the success that he is experiencing. And hey, speaking of success, we hit 3,000 subs on the channel. Holy moly, this is some of the fastest channel growth I've ever had. I'm kind of at a loss for words. We only just hit 2K on the channel, like, I don't know, less than a month ago, and now we're already at 3K? What the hell? And if you want to show me a little bit of extra love, then definitely consider becoming a channel member like these people on screen right now. Not only does it support me, but you get a whole bunch of cool rewards that you can read about, and, you know, there's no real reason not to do it if you're able. It's not a requirement, if you're able, because I know how the economy is these days. Doesn't really matter what part of the world you're in. The economy kind of sucks right now. Anyways, that's enough ranting. I need to end this video before it turns into a completely different video. But seriously, that's going to do it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and, yeah.